Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are going to unlock a totally new level of your English fluency. We're tackling something that honestly sounds way scarier than it actually is. The future perfect continuous tense. Yep, I know, it's a super long name for a grammar rule, but stick with me. By the time we wrap up today, you're going to be using it with complete confidence, and it's absolutely going to make your spoken English sound so much more natural and precise.
So let's just start with a simple question. Have you ever wanted to talk about an action that's going to continue for a while, right up to a specific moment in the future? If you're nodding along, you're definitely not alone. We all want to measure time this way. And while the name of this tense sounds like a complicated math equation, it's really just a handy tool. It's a way to measure time leading up to a future moment, helping us tell a much richer story about how time actually unfolds.
All right, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. First, demystifying the tense. Then, the golden formula. Next, 3 key use cases, followed by negatives and questions. Then we'll cover avoiding common mistakes and finish up with a quick practice and summary.
Section 1. Demystifying the tense. What exactly is the future perfect continuous?
Well, before we get into the nuts and bolts of building it, we really need to understand its core purpose. What are we actually trying to communicate here? The official definition is that it describes an action that will continue for a period of time before a certain point or event in the future. But the absolute key takeaway here is duration. This tense is all about emphasizing how long something takes, not just that it gets finished. It tells the listener, hey, look at how long this has been going on by the time we hit this future milestone.
Section 2. The golden formula. These are the building blocks of time. So, how do we actually build one of these sentences? Think of me as your grammar coach for a second. Try to view this structure not as some chaotic jumble of words, but like a foolproof recipe. If you put the ingredients in the right order, you literally can't get it wrong. Here is your golden formula. You just stack these 4 building blocks. Block 1, your subject. Block 2, the words will have. Block 3, the word been. And finally, block 4, your main verb. But you absolutely have to add ing to the end of it. That's the whole shebang. Subject plus will have plus been plus the verb ending in ing. Sure, it's a long string of words, but when you treat it like a simple assembly kit, it's a piece of cake.
Let's look at this formula in the real world with some examples. Read them with me. I will have been studying for 3 hours by 9 p.m. Next one, she will have been working here for 5 years by next June. And finally, they will have been traveling for 2 weeks by the time they arrive. Now, what's super interesting about these examples is how every single one acts like a highly specific time capsule. They aren't just saying what will happen, they're telling us exactly how long the action will have been going on right up to that future deadline.
Section 3. 3 key use cases. Let's put this formula to work. Knowing the formula is great, but knowing exactly when to pull it out of your toolbox is where the magic happens. We're going to look at 3 specific everyday scenarios. Use case number 1. Emphasizing the duration of an action before a future time limit. Imagine an action starts in the past. It continues for a set amount of time, let's say 6 hours, and hits a future limit, like midnight. So, by midnight, I will have been writing for 6 hours. See how perfectly that captures the effort? You're really shining a spotlight on that exhausting 6-hour stretch of writing leading up to the clock striking 12. Now, for a second use case, an action that continues right up to another future event. Imagine the waiting starts in the past, continues for over an hour, and then bam, the future event happens, someone arrives. The sentence would be, when you arrive, we will have been waiting for over an hour. This just brilliantly illustrates the relationship between the 2 events. The waiting started way before the arrival and goes right up until the second you walk through the door.
Our third use case is a bit broader, just showing the total duration of how long something happens. Like, you might say, by next month, he will have been teaching for 10 years, or by December, they will have been living in Cairo for 3 years. And a pro tip to make this even easier, keep your eyes peeled for 4 key signal words: for, since, by, and by the time. Honestly, if you see these words, there is a massive chance this tense is exactly what you need.
Moving on to Section 4, negatives and questions. Tweaking the formula.
All right, you've totally mastered the positive statements. Let's keep this momentum going. What if you want to say that something won't be happening? We just do a tiny tweak to our golden formula. Notice how similar this is? The only thing you change is swapping will for will not. Or, to sound way more conversational, just use the contraction won't.
So it's subject plus won't plus have plus been plus the verb with an ing. Let's just quickly run through a few negative examples so you can feel the rhythm of it. I won't have been working here for long. She won't have been studying for very long by the exam. They won't have been living there for a year. It flows pretty nicely, right? The core structure doesn't really budge, you just drop that won't right in there.
And what about questions? For questions, you just invert or flip the subject and the word will. The formula becomes will plus subject plus have plus been plus the ing verb. Like, will you have been studying for 2 hours by noon? And the best part? You don't need a huge long reply. The short answers are super simple. Yes, I will, or no, I won't.
Section 5. Avoiding common mistakes. Troubleshooting your grammar.
Okay, huddle up. As your coach, I've got to protect you from the common traps that snag so many people. Because there are 4 distinct blocks in this formula, it is ridiculously easy to accidentally drop one. Trap number 1, I will have been study for 2 hours. Nope, that's wrong. You absolutely must remember to add the ing to the main verb. The right way is, I will have been studying for 2 hours. The continuous nature of the tense totally demands that ing. Literally, do not leave home without it.
And here is trap number 2. Listen closely. She will have working for 5 years. Did you catch what's missing? Yep, it's the word been. The correct version is, she will have been working for 5 years. Just remember, will have been acts as a single unit. They are best friends, they gotta stay together to make this work.
Section 6, quick practice and summary. Let's test your skills.
All right, you've got the formula, the use cases, and the traps all figured out. Now, I'm putting you on the spot. We're going to do a quick fill in the blank to really lock this in. Ready? By 8 p.m., I blank for 4 hours. The verb is study. Take a second. Run that golden formula in your head.
And the answer is, will have been studying. By 8 p.m., I will have been studying for 4 hours. If you nailed that, awesome job. You're stacking the blocks perfectly.
Let's try just one more. When we arrive, they blank for 30 minutes. And your verb is wait. Think about the pieces. Don't forget the ing. Got it?
Here it is. The answer is will have been waiting. When we arrive, they will have been waiting for 30 minutes. Give yourself a huge pat on the back. You basically just built one of the most complex grammatical puzzles in English. To wrap up this explainer, let's just look at the ultimate takeaway. The future perfect continuous, the one we crushed today, is entirely focused on duration, how long an action takes. Its cousin, the standard future perfect tense, focuses only on completion, just the fact that an action is finished. Think about the conversations you're going to have tomorrow. How often do you measure the ongoing flow of time leading up to something else? Getting this nuance right doesn't just make your grammar correct. It transforms your English from functional to incredibly fluent. So, I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you're endlessly waiting for a delayed flight or studying late into the night, how are you going to measure that journey of time in your head? Keep pushing your fluency, and thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer today.